celebrate our 10th annual Top Blacks in Health. It's a celebration today. Thank you so much. We're also honoring our first inaugural Hall of Fame. Exciting. Few housekeeping issues. Restrooms, so don't wait too long. It's all the way on the left. So keep going. Give yourself a good 5 minutes to walk. I am so honored and humbled to stand in front of you all today as we introduce an important dialogue. We curated the agenda very carefully, considering the environment we're in, and we hope you will learn a lot. I always think a good panel helps us think of new questions. So the panels are all about solutions. We all know what the problems are. We live it daily. So you'll hear a lot of solutions that hopefully will build upon your current thinking and will think of new ideas. We are on this journey together. Partnerships, we think, are key, and we look forward to working with you all. To me, when we say make America great, it includes what our mission is, making every Black family as healthy as possible. As I mentioned, today is a milestone. It's a decade of Top Blacks in Health awards. We're really just excited to celebrate with you. It's also our 20th anniversary video. And I think I forgot to, did I introduce myself? I'm Shari Beagleman. I'm Chief of Staff of BlackDoctor.org. I think I know most of you. As our executive editor, Jade Curtis, said last night at our Hall of Fame celebration, to all of our inductees of our first Hall of Fame, you are seen, you are appreciated. Your legacy is now written into history. And history will not be erased on our dime. BlackDoctor.org is steadfast in fulfilling our mission and a dream that our visionary and quite amazing CEO, Reggie created 20 years ago. Thank you for your leadership, Reggie. On a personal note, I am grateful for the relationships that I personally built by working in health equity in the field. I'm so grateful I found this passion of mine during COVID when I was sitting in front of my computer, reading and not really understanding that there were health equity issues. And it occurred to me that I think I can help. So I am personally grateful to be standing here today with this amazing opportunity. Thank you. It is a great honor sharing our action-packed agenda. If we can bring our agenda onto the screen. We curated powerful conversation by leaders in the industry like yourselves. And we will start first with our future of healthcare. I am going to introduce now our CEO, Reggie Ware, to say a few words.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. You know, man, it's just amazing to think 20 years ago, when we started BDO, what we thought it could be and what we've actually become, and the amazing people and leaders and just talented, brilliant people that have taken our platform to the level where it needs to be, which is where people can come, they get great information, great content, connect with just the leaders and the best of us on BDO. And so today is a reflection of that. And of all the weeks, of the 52 weeks out of the year, when your mission is to get every Black family as healthy as possible, a lot of it's hard work. But then there's a week where we get to celebrate our greatness, our brilliance. And so the Hall of Fame, the TBH Hall of Fame inaugural year for that, really, really excited about that. And every year, we look to find the people that are really making a difference. And for us, we want to say, I see you. And when we say I see you, it's not just BDO, but it's the 20 million people that we have that are on social media and so forth. It's the 6 million people that's on our website. And we're all saying, man, we see you, we appreciate you, we recognize you. And with the Hall of Fame, we're now immortalizing you. So I'm not gonna keep you much longer, but I do wanna recognize our sponsors, because I think it's really important as we look at our sponsors, Nova Nordis, UCB, AARP, Genentech. You know, this year's special because, you know, the true measure of a man, you know, can't be seen when everything's going good. The true measure of a man can only be seen when everything hits the fan, right? And who's standing to say, hey, you matter, you know, and you matter to me, I see you, and I'm gonna be there for you. And so I always tell people, Horace and I, when we're in our presentations, we talk about we talk about this subculture, the Black community, and we talk about mistrust and distrust, you know, because a lot of times people use those terms interchangeably. Mistrust is, you know, it's a hunch, you know, something don't feel right, you know, I don't know about this, something don't feel right. You can overcome mistrust by saying, hey, don't worry about it, it's gonna be okay. But distrust, on the other hand, is history. I saw what you did, you know, and that's really the barrier that prohibits people from being able to talk to the Black community. And so how do you overcome distrust, right? You got to be there, you've got to demonstrate action in tough times. And so when I look at our sponsors, man, I'm so appreciative, because we can't do what we do, right, without our sponsors. We can't save lives, we can't connect with people, we can't inspire people. And so it's really important that we recognize our sponsors. Can we give them a quick round of applause? Yeah. Thank you. Amazing. The last thing I'll say is that, okay, we started doing TBH, Top Blacks in Health, because we know that, and it's been proven, that when kids see themselves in Black history and they see successful people, they do better academically. And so when we look at health, right, what are all the ways we can help people thrive in every area of their life, right? It's when they look in the mirror, they should like what they see, right? They should have positive relationships with their friend. Of course, we got to eat healthy, we've got to exercise, we've got to make sure that the people in need find the best treatment options, and that's why we have great physicians. And I'm seeing Dr. Craig Cole over here, and the work he's doing in the multiple myeloma space is second to none. And you know, and we just got so, you know, we have so many great people, and I'm happy to say that I admire our honorees and our colleagues, because they're just so brilliant and so great. And so I'm going to get off the stage and let these brilliant people talk so we can learn and we can engage. And everybody, let's have a good time. It's going to be an open discussion. We are streaming. You know, we streamed our event in New York, USA Today, and I know over 100,000 people combined saw those panels, right? So we probably have a big audience today as well. So guys, let's give them a show.
All right. Good morning, everyone. All right, let's try that again. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Now, I know it is in the morning time, and we're in Miami, so 9 times out of 10, you partied last night. You woke up this morning like I did, and you had that Barry White voice. I don't know about you, but when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, you'll never find no like mine. I never know the words, but you know, it goes along with what he's saying. But today is gonna be a day full of energy. So let me say it again. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. So today, we've got a podium here. You can see it. We've got a podium here, but I'm moving around for a reason. Because let's be honest, change in healthcare doesn't happen by standing still. Change in healthcare happens by moving forward, speaking out, and doing the things that people in this room are doing and have been doing and will be doing for decades to come. So if you're here to share a breakthrough, you're in the right place. If you're here to challenge the status quo, you're in the right place. If you're here to learn from some of the brightest minds, boldest voices, and cutting-edge leaders in their field, you're in the right place. So let's take it to church for a little bit. Turn to your neighbor and say, you're in the right place. Now, turn to the other neighbor that you didn't talk to and tell them, you're in the right place. So let's get ready for a day full of insight, inspiration, collaboration, and a little bit of disruption, all while enjoying each other and having fun. So welcome to the 10th annual Top Blacks in Healthcare Thought Leadership Summit. Let's welcome our first panel, The Future of Health. Come on up.
Good morning, everybody. We are delighted to be here with you all, as well as I just want to give a huge shout out to BDO. We thank you for curating this time for us all together. I was talking last evening with everyone, and I said, this is so beautiful because in this season, we have to be on a different assignment. So we're going to get right into the panel. I'm just going to introduce myself really quickly. I'm Kerri Gober. I'm with the American Cancer Society. I'm the chief of staff of our research team, which includes population science, surveillance and health research, as well as our Center for Diversity in Research Training. And on our esteemed panel, we have Jude Ngang and Niesha Foster and Lissiah Hundley. So I'm going to dive right into our first question. In your crystal ball, what does the future of health actually look like? And being from our research team, I wrote a few notes and wanted to share what I feel personally, what I would like to see the future of health look like. Equitable and accessible access. Strong scientific-based evidence delivered with respect for the needs of our patients and our communities. Targeted treatment. So I'm gonna go down the panel and you can further introduce yourself and share, but I would like to know, in your crystal ball, what would you see the future of health?
Thank you, Terry. I'm Jude Ngang, as Terry said, with Amgen. I lead the Global Access and Use Evidence Generation team at Amgen. And to answer the question, before I answer it, I just want to take a moment to also congratulate BDO on the 20th anniversary. It's been a journey. I've been working with BDO for the past 10 years, and Reggie and the leadership team commending you for your leadership, your vision, but most importantly, your adaptability quotient. You continue to remain relevant. So you keep adapting, you're listening, and then you're adapting as well with your team to make sure that you're reaching the people how they need to be reached. So really observing that over time is worth commending on your 20th anniversary. So to answer the question about the future of health, I think, first of all, we can just take in a moment to look at the past or the journey that we've come through. It's been a long journey, especially for Black health and overall health in general. There have been improvements in mortality and outcomes. If you look at the graphs, it's been trending in the positive direction. However, we all know that that positive graph, there's still disparities when you break into various subgroups, including people of Black origin or African ancestry. However, when you look now where we are and then try to project, you see the challenges we face today. You already called a few here, the accessibility, equitable access. That one thing that actually concerns me and concerns us as well at Amgen is actual information, which BDO is really about information, or you could say misinformation or disinformation. that's something that I think as we progress with the future of health, we should all hone in and be quite aware of. I've seen in my own family where people have various different sort of opinions about health. Their sources of information is very confusing, and despite our efforts to actually sort of help with information, we have to focus on combating disinformation. I think I saw on the list of topics today, I was very glad to see that as a topic. Also, we look at that as a very serious thing to start focusing on now, as we making sure that our communication with the public at various aspects of the ecosystem, in the healthcare ecosystem, they're getting the information from trusted sources that are credible and relevant. Now is the time to really come in together as an ecosystem and set that.
Thank you so much. Niesha?
Good morning, everyone, and thanks for having me here, Reggie, and the BDO team. I'm Niesha Foster. I'm Vice President of Global Health and Social Impact at Pfizer. I've been there for over 20 years. I know you don't believe that, but it's true. And I have the great pleasure of overseeing our global product donation program. So what that means is we leverage our products in different markets to achieve better health. I oversee what we call our International Trachoma Initiative, which is the WHO's effort to end blinding trachoma in developing markets. I also get to oversee our U.S. Patient Assistance Program, where Pfizer donates medicines for those who cannot afford them. And I had the pleasure of overseeing what we call the Pfizer Multicultural Health Equity Collective, where for the last 11 years, we've partnered with various organizations, including the Patient Advocate Foundation and others, 100 Black Men of America, to support their efforts to address the root causes of health disparities in underserved populations. And when I saw this first question around the future of health, my immediate thought was, well, it depends. There are no crystal balls. And so it just depends on what we're willing to commit to. And that's each of us. It's those that we touch. And what are they willing to commit to? Are they willing to commit to changing the 4 square blocks in their neighborhood? Are they willing to commit to getting to know their neighbors and what drives their interest in health, what drives their interest in helping others? If we're just going to stay in our own bubbles and our own silos, the future will be pretty bleak. However, if we're all willing to commit to all the things that are really driving that distrust, misinformation, malinformation, then it could be very different. And we have to reach not across aisles, but across industries. This is a great forum, but where are the Apples? Where are all those other companies that really know where people get their information, how they get their information? Are they willing to work with us to make that change? And so I think, the future is what we want it to be. The healthcare system is working as designed, where those who have access get the best outcomes and those who don't have access don't. So we have to change decision makers. We have to change how we move through our blocks and in our neighborhoods and in our business, and then we will get the equitable health outcomes that we all desire.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I am Lisa Taylor Hundley. I'm the Global Head of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at UCB. We're a European-based biopharma company and located in Belgium, and I am actually based in Atlanta. So if you think of full cycle, like employment life cycle, that's where I spend a lot of my time, but I'm heavy in the business as well. I'm focused on health equity initiatives as well as, clinical trial diversity initiatives and other things to really drive systemic change around our people, our patients, our products, and the partners that we work with, like BDO. I've been with the organization for a little over a year now, and I will tell you, the crystal ball has failed me because it's either broken or it wasn't working before, because I would have never thought that the time that we're in right now would look like the time that we're living in right now. So I need a better crystal ball for the future, to be truthful. Unprecedented times, in the future, if this crystal ball was working, I would like to see a world where terms even like clinical trial diversity or focusing on particular segments in health equity would be normal conversations that we could have without challenges or fear or just disruption in the system. So I would love to see the changes that we were working towards, prior to this year to look better, look, more positive in the future. And that's where I stand, because the world and our work right now, it was already challenging, coming into this year, but it's even more so now. That's the elephant in the room. We can't talk the way we historically were talking. We can't necessarily work if, as a federal contractor, many of us in the room are federal contractors. I see the heads nodding. We have to work differently and strategically and be super proactive in the work that we do. And so that would be my future state if I could manipulate this awesome crystal ball and my utopia of work. That's where I would like for us to be.
Can I just say one thing about that? Because you triggered something for me. We have to be hopeful.
Right.
It's unprecedented, yes, but we've been in challenging situations before. We're
Many
all
years.
resourceful, many resourceful people. And so we just have to remember from where we came to believe that we can get to the other side of whatever this is, but we have to
Yes.
do it together.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Niesha, for mentioning that. We're going to take a deeper dive, and Jude, you're up with our first question here. What are some innovative ways we can ensure that members of the Black community participate in medicine?
That's literally in medicine, healthcare. It's a very important question at this time where we are right now. There are many ways. I think we should look at it from a multiple aspect, starting from academia itself, or you look at the entire education system, but also going even into industry where we are as well. Then, of course, you go all the way to the grade school levels and so forth. But it really also intentionally setting up programs where we literally put people in places and rooms and mentorship and guidance and stay sustained over time. I think we've seen many times where most of us in this room, if you look at your journey, there were many times where you were the only one that looks like you in the room. That's changing in a lot recently. We've even seen it at Amgen as well. It's really changed over time, thanks to the effort of some of my great colleagues who are here as well. However, there's still more work to do. So what I can share as a few examples that Amgen we've invested in, that we've seen some positive results coming out of it. I can call one first, looking at the physician space in the US and the leaders in medicine. We have this program called Dr. Robert Wynn Clinical Trial Excellence Award program. It's also a very important program because this was one of the first times I had seen where as industry, we all came together and pulled our resources together to design this program, to develop a new generation of clinician leaders, investigators who conduct clinical trials. And that program is in its getting to the 5th year now. And what I can say is so far, the candidates that have come out, those that are in, we've seen tremendous results. The few attributes about our program that I may highlight for a few seconds here that makes it really sustainable is, number one, the physician time is protected intentionally in terms of compensation. We looked, as we designed this program, we didn't ignore that there is the practice of medicine and there is the business of medicine. So when you put all those together, then you look at what are the incentives, then we align those. We protect the time in collaboration with the institutions so that they can then have that time to really spend with the patients as well. Secondly, it's a requirement for all these physicians to partner with community organizations, trusted community organizations, get into the community. It's actually very mandatory. So I'll give you an example of one of the candidates who recently graduated based out of Philly. He's African-American physician. by faith. He's a Muslim, and he was having dinner with me when I was checking on him, like, how is it going? It's like, Jude, you just don't know what you guys have done to me. I've been practicing for many years. I thought I knew my patients who were Black. I didn't. You guys forced me to go into the community. So I had to go to church on Sunday. Then I was invited to the barbecue. Then I started learning things about my patients that I didn't know. So I can't believe you guys helped me learn about my own people that I thought I knew everything about. So that's just an example. It transformed how he then practiced going forward. It transformed how he communicated, how he listened. So just one tangible, qualitative example that I think to me, it profoundly showed why it's beneficial. And then maybe another third component of this program is also the requirement for all those clinicians or physicians to be mentors of medical students. So they're paired with medical students as well from the underrepresented backgrounds. And they also mentor them and guide them and sit with them and take them through their journey, help them through both their rotations and also taking the requirements to qualify for whatever specialty they're interested in, so that whether they're going into cardiology or oncology or various branches, they're also paired with mentors. So that then also the medical students would reach the stage now where the discussion now is, okay, how do you pair that as well? Let the medical students now be mentoring those undergraduate. There's discussions to bring in affiliate organizations now that bring in those undergraduate students, pair them with them, and then those undergraduate students will be paired with high school students. So in a short while, then we can look in 10 years, you say you have an ecosystem where right from the grade school kid could sit in the same room when we do the annual convening that is growing and growing. Will soon be 1,000, 2,000 people come and spend 1 week. The high school student will be talking to the top hematologists like Dr. Craig right here in the room, right? So then they see, as Reggie said, the kids will see what is possible. And then I think I've taken a lot of time to talk about this. You can tell how this program is something that we spend a lot of time looking at it, but we have to come together as industry, put our resources together, because it takes a lot to manage such a program administratively. So it reduced that overhead. Then the resources could then go into actually really doing the work. So that's one really key thing that I've taken a lot of time, and I'll pass the microphone back.
No, you were great. You were great. Thank you so much for re-emphasizing the work that you are doing with Dr. Nguyen. Dr. Nguyen, Robert Nguyen is also a board member of the American Cancer Society. So it shows how the thread of all of our organizations, as even Niesha said, we have to work together. So I'm so glad that you mentioned that.
I'm going to be the
Sure.
rogue panelist.
Of course.
I just want to add one more thing to that, because it's also important to make sure that we are explaining why it may be important for people to consider clinical trials. You know, if you're not addressing the social determinants of how people are walking through, they have to figure out how they're going to eat, what the job is, like all these other things before they can even think to do something as altruistic, because it is, as a clinical trial. So we have to make sure these programs are thinking about how people live day to day, what their challenges are, in order to help them understand how it may be beneficial. And at the end of the day, all we can do is provide information that is sound, that is addressing their concerns, and then perhaps they will want to be in our clinical trials. We have to keep patients at the center for sure.
I agree. And understand the patients you're looking to serve, the patients that need your medications. Just because we might look alike does not necessarily mean we are alike, you know? And so as an Afro-Latina, I'm gonna tell you, engaging is different. You know, you're not just probably gonna engage with me. You might have Tia, you might have Abuela, you might, you know, it depends culturally too on your patient population, and having in-language capabilities, you know, also like communicate in language so that the community understands. It builds trust differently. Have people that look like us engaging with us as well, because trust is a huge opportunity and can create different barriers.
I'm just going to do it again. Y'all don't be this way when y'all get in your panel though, but I have one more thing to share on that. So the Pfizer Multicultural Health Equity Collective, which has been around for 11 years, partnering with different organizations. And when we were running our COVID-19 trial, we certainly leveraged the relationships that we built over the years in order to make sure that that trial was diverse. We all know why it had to be, and it was in part to our relationships. We had one of the leaders from the National Hispanic Medical Association who helped us co-create materials that were going to be useful for the Latino community. And that person also was a trusted voice in the community. They went on a local Spanish-speaking radio station and talked about the challenges in the community with COVID. They explained about the various trials that were ongoing in the neighborhood. And we saw over 100 people calling in at the end of that program. There was a call to action, over 100 people calling to find out more information, and many of those got enrolled into the trial. So when you work with those who are trusted in the organization, and they're not trusted only because they look like, only because they have a lived experience, but because they demonstrate trustworthiness in their behavior, then you get the results that you ultimately want.
I love that.
This is the best panel, I tell you. I appreciate it. We have actually answered a few of the other questions, but I'll just go ahead and mention, this is really for Niesha and Lisa. What are pathways that we can ensure that people in the community become and stay healthy?
Sure. So I try to be pretty transparent when I speak and engage. I'm a stage 4, 90-day to live cancer survivor. So thank you. Thank you. And I say that because they're, just depending on the culture, depending on, socioeconomic opportunities and other things, education matters, like information matters. And I know when I was battling with my situation, information was limited to me. There were a lot of biases in the system as well. Access was an opportunity. Looking at me, assumptions were made, and so there were limitations in my care. And so if we're going to help, all patients, especially those that have not been privy to access in the same way, I think we need to engage early. As we're developing our products and other things, connect early, listen. Listening is super critical. How often are we engaging with our patients and actually hearing, what they're experiencing and connecting it to our products, our work, that we're doing. And the education, I think, needs to start early and continue through the process. So mitigating biases in the system, though, is super, super important. And people have started connecting, bias to diversity. It's not like it's bias. It's how we think, how we work. And the faster we move and the work that we do, the more biased we are. And if we don't have people in key roles and key decision-making roles, in fact, that consider others that don't look like them or that look like the populations we're looking to serve, there are opportunities there as well. So I've learned, and the reason why I'm in the role that I'm in now and in biopharma is I had a bucket list. Like if I was going to survive and I was determined to survive, I had a list of things I wanted to do. And one of the things was to work in the industry to drive change for those who did not have equitable opportunities. And when this opportunity came available, I jumped on it because it's another way to engage and give back and to help others that may have or experiencing right now real time or have had challenges that I've gone through. So access is critical. Education and listening are super important as well.
And perfect answer. And many of the things that I was going to say, I would just add that we have to figure out why people aren't their healthiest. No one ever wakes up and says, I want to live the unhealthiest life. Do they have what they need in their neighborhoods in order to help advance that? Are the people that they trust with any type of decision that they're going to make. I mean, you can get a TikTok trend on anything. Why can't we figure out how people are getting access to the information and who is influencing them so they can make different changes? So we have all this technology and opportunity that we just have to find a way to think differently about how to use it in order to demonstrate the benefits of making different decisions. I don't think it's people are intentionally not making these decisions. I think it's just that they have to be shown another way, and we have to understand like why they're making a decision that we may be a bit different.
Kerri, I know you. Can I go rogue?
Of course. Of course.
So that's a good question. I think what I can respond to that, we need to meet people where they are. And it's multiple ways, I think, as my co-panelists have shared as well. So a hybrid approach. I think we have a program at Amgen that we're really learning a lot from. It's called Rooted, a community engagement program. That program, the main tenets of the program is to intentionally be present within the community without an agenda, but more so be present under a few sort of principles in carrying out activities long-term that are related to nutrition, physical exercise, mental well-being, and also convening to celebrate historical heritage across various underrepresented communities, which we've kicked off in the US. And through that now, partnering with community organizations, trust makers, or those who already trusted and trust makers, and then working with them and designing things that we've already started executing. And through that, and the aim is that we are that conduit for information as that trust is built over time. And I'll share a few examples. Apologies, I always like to share really tangible examples that really account on. We collect metrics, and then we also look at qualitative metrics. From a qualitative standpoint, I saw it twice in two different occasions where in one community engagement event, a lady walked up, just said, "I want to participate in a clinical trial." I'm like, what? I was kind of concerned, like, how do you just walk up? She didn't say what condition she has. So it just showed that the term clinical trial was no longer a myth to her after having, listening to some learnings over a few months over time. Then the other example, this happened at the Taste of Soul event in LA that I was with some of my colleagues. It wasn't even at Amgen, it was a big event, not an Amgen only event. And I was started by Lazarus Cancer Foundation, a booth that was right next to the Amgen booth. And this gentleman walked up and said, "Hey, I was a 20-year smoker. Do you guys have a clinical trial going on? I want to participate." I'm like, what's going on? Before, you don't see people proactively coming to talk about clinical trial. So this, I think, meeting people where they are, we could share information and potentially really come together to combat that misinformation, where they can learn about their wellness in their own way at their own time. In conclusion, that Rooted program, it's meant for us as Amgen to function as a convener of the community, so that they can have moments that would bring joy, moments that would bring, celebration and happiness. And then through that, then when the time is right, with their partnership and the advisors of the programs, they say, "Hey, we can talk about this, we can talk about that." And we're seeing that as a potential way that may really make a difference going forward.
That's so great. We could obviously talk about this the entire day. We all are the ecosystem of what the future of health needs to look like. Just one last thing that I want to ask the panelists. What would be the next first step in these turbulent times that are happening now? If everybody could just give maybe a 1-second thought on what would be our next steps. Where do we need to go from this day?
Great, thank you. So I think first, Reggie mentioned something related to that. Turbulent times, so much things going on. Focus, just focus. We need to focus. We know what's right. We have missions. Let's stay focused. And this is fluid. It changes. Reacting may not be the best way. Just stay focused and do the mission that we're doing, and then over time we would remain on the right track.
I would say activism and getting local leaders, community leaders more involved in politics. Policy is driving everything that's happening right now. And people may say they don't want to be political, they don't like politics, but you like your job, you like your house, you like your family to be healthy, and policy is driving everything. So we have to make sure that we are identifying those leaders who have lived experiences, who are going to make the better decisions for healthcare for everyone, and ensure that they are in the positions of power and driving health policy.
I love that response. Staying active and knowing what's happening in this current landscape. Ignorance is no longer bliss. So if you don't know the executive orders that are being rolled out, if you don't know the letters that are being sent abroad to Europe, if you don't know how, decisions are impacting the work that we do, you're a little bit behind, but it's okay because you can get up to speed quickly. And once you have that knowledge, keep doing the work. This is not the time to step back, step down, step away. Get your board of directors. We are all connecting offline. I have many companies that I speak with from day to day and week to week. Keep your board of directors close and keep doing the work.
Thank you. We are going to have a few questions. I think there's going to be a question that's going to come up on the screen.
Good morning.
So I'll get started. I'm Gigi Open-Gumi, faculty at Georgetown, and I'm the director of the Broad Institute. I want to bring up a model that we can look to that really scales all of your efforts, and that is the Black Coalition Against COVID, started by Dr. Reed Custon, who's one of the board members. It is a model of how bringing together everybody from HBCU, medical schools to activists, community members, the Greek fraternities, sororities, garbage workers, etc. I think it's a model that I would really encourage everybody to look at our website.
Check 1, 2.
I would encourage everybody to look at our website. Thank you.
Because there were lots of lessons that we learned. For our own work at Rodham Institute, before we started doing anything, we did listening sessions in the community, okay, to find out sort of what the issues were. The final thing I'm going to say is that mental health, we're in a crisis. When we did our environmental scan over 10 years ago, that was done by one of the community health workers to do a deep dive into what people's concerns were in Southeast Washington, D.C. Mental health was number one. That was 10 years ago. It's now into the stratosphere. And until and unless we address that and work on that, our efforts will really be muted. Because if you're not here and you've got competing priorities, who's going to go for their mammogram? Who's going to even think about their personal health? So that is the gateway, I believe, to having better care. And then finally, I'll say what motivates me every day to do the work that I do, whether clinically or otherwise, it's love. Nobody's talking about love. I might not love or like all my patients, but I love all my patients. And being in touch with one's humanity is so important. That's what we bring. That is our, our what is that, superpower?
Yeah.
It is our humanity. Thank you.
Thank you, Gigi.
Thank you.
Awesome. So let's go to the question on the screen, Seth. Yep, there we go. Are you able to read it?
Yes, that's fine.
So it says, what are pathways we can utilize to help our community become healthier? If you go to menti.com on your phones, everybody pull your phone out, please. It's not school, right? They ask you to put them away for everything, right? We're breaking all the rules today. We're pulling out our phones. We're going to go to menti.com, MENTI.com. And then the code for this particular panel is 85108330. I'll say it one more time. 85108330. And on this page, you'll be able to answer directly and your responses will populate. Look at that. You see that? There's 2 answers. 3, okay. So what are pathways we can utilize to help our community become healthier? Increase partnership, more storytelling, support advocacy more, create change within my own organization or field, contact elected officials for policy change, encourage community sharing, and then the last one is all of the above. So it looks like all of the above is the winner. What do you think?
Thank you so much. Thank you all. And again, please see us even after the panel for further discussions about the future of health. We'd love to partner with each of you.
Thank you, everyone.